This story is about a simple boy who lived in a small village. People thought he was a fool, but fate had something big for him. One day when he went to catch fish, he found a magical fish that could give any 3 wishes. That is where his true story begins. Each wish made his journey easier, but life became more complicated. The magical fish turns into a girl and helps him. The story opens with deep under the sea. In a far land, the Fish King asks his trusted frog spy, "Where has the fish I want to marry gone?" The frog is scared and says he cannot find her. The king gets angry and tells the frog to look in every corner and bring the fish to him. The scene moves to a small icy village in Russia, where a blind blacksmith lives with his son Emelya. Emelya is kind and a little simple. One morning, his little dog wakes him. As Emelya tries to leave the house quietly, his father at the hot iron stove tells him to learn the blacksmith job because the father will not be able to work forever. Emelya agrees and promises to learn fast. His father asks him to bring fish for their meal, so Emelya takes a bucket and a hook and goes to the frozen river. At the river, Emelya drills a hole in the ice and sits to fish. Suddenly, water rises like a water splash and a fish falls into his bucket. Emelya is happy that food came without much effort. He goes home to cook the fish. Then a voice asks, "What are you looking for?" Emelya is shocked because the fish is speaking. The fish says, "If you set me free in the river, I will give you any 3 wishes." Emelya does not believe at first, but he still asks his first wish. He wishes he could travel the whole town without leaving his hot iron stove. As soon as he says this, the house shakes and lifts. Emelya is scared when the hot stove begins to move like a cart, and the whole house rolls out of the village. The fish says, "Because you wish to travel without leaving the stove will travel with you." Emelya cannot believe his first wish came true. Later, feeling cold, he wishes the weather were warm and fields green. Immediately the ice melts, the weather becomes soft, and green spreads. The fish tells him 2 wishes are done and only 1 wish remains. Emelya worries he wasted 2 wishes on simple things. The fish says people ask what their minds can imagine. Emelya moves on with the fish. Some robbers stop him and try to take his bucket. Emelya runs to save the fish and the robbers chase him. He manages to throw the fish back into the river so she will be safe. But the robbers catch him, hang him upside down from a tree, and leave. After a while, a beautiful girl comes and unties Emelya. He does not recognize her at first. When he asks her name, she says, "Vasilisa." Emelya notices a shiny scarf with a fish pattern on her shoulder and realizes she is the same magical fish he freed. He quickly takes the scarf so she cannot run away and says he still has his last wish, which he will use at the right time. Vasilisa asks what he wants next. He says he wants to marry the king's daughter, Princess Anfisa, and that he will not use a wish to get her. He will try by his own strength and asks Vasilisa to help. Vasilisa agrees. The story shows the king's big palace where Princess Anfisa hears that a messenger from England has come to ask for her hand. She is very happy because she always wanted to marry an Englishman. She gets ready quickly. The messenger brings a gift, an umbrella, to please the princess. But the king does not like the English. He wants his daughter to marry a good and honest man. Before the king can refuse, the messenger says he brought a special gift that will make the king happy. Emelya and Vasilisa quietly watch near the palace wall. The messenger shows a machine that seems to play music by itself, but actually a man hides inside and presses a button to make it play. The king says they do not need such a trick, but the princess falls for the messenger. At that moment, Emelya runs in and says he can bring a real music machine that plays by itself just by speaking. The king is pleased and says, "If you do this, you may ask for anything." Emelya asks if that means he can marry the princess. The king smiles and says, "If you succeed, I will let you marry her." The king also tells his servants to give Emelya new clothes and shoes so he can begin his journey. Emelya leaves happily and tells Vasilisa everything. Vasilisa warns him that the instrument exists, but is kept in a dark forest with a dangerous big animal. Many who went to get it never returned. Emelya is scared, but ready to face danger to get the instrument. Vasilisa agrees to help, and they walk toward the dark forest. On the way, Vasilisa explains the big animal is very dangerous. If it plays a happy song, the listener will dance until they fall and be eaten. If it plays a sad song, the listener will cry, fall asleep, and be eaten. At one point, Vasilisa says Emelya must go on alone. Emelya walks into the forest where many bones lie everywhere. A voice says those bones belong to the people who came for the instrument. The voice asks if Emelya also wants it. Emelya answers, yes. The big animal laughs and says, if you can hear my song and stay calm, the instrument will be yours. Do you choose the sad song or the happy song? Emelya chooses the sad song. The big animal plays and sings, thinking Emelya will fall asleep and become easy prey. But Emelya only cries a little and then begins to sing the next lines. The big animal is shocked and asks how Emelya knows the song. Emelya smiles and says his mother used to sing the song to him as a child. The big animal loses the test and begins to cry. He says if Emelya takes the instrument, he will stay hungry. Emelya opens his bag and gives the big animal food. For the first time, the big animal eats a full meal and becomes happy. He says the instrument is now Emelya's and that he will stay with him as his friend. At the riverbank, Vasilisa waits. The frog, the Fish King's spy, comes and tells Vasilisa that the Fish King is looking everywhere for her and says she must come and marry him. Vasilisa angrily refuses and says she will never marry him. Emelya returns with the big animal and the instrument and hears what the frog said. Vasilisa is happy to have the instrument and the two walk back together. On the way, Emelya asks about the Fish King and Vasilisa says she left him because she does not love him. Back at the palace, the messenger has changed his look to an Italian. Princess Enfisa recognizes him and hopes again. But before he can ask the king for her hand, Emelya arrives with the big animal and the magic instrument and tells the big animal to play a happy tune. As soon as the music starts, everyone in the court begins to dance and cannot stop. When they fall down tired, Emelya tells the big animal to stop. The king is amazed and says it is a wonderful instrument. He is very happy and decides the big animal and the instrument will live in the palace. Emelya reminds the king of his promise and the king happily agrees. But Enfisa still wants to marry the messenger from England. She tells Emelya, if you really want to marry me, prove you can do something great for me. She says she will tell him the task the next day. The innocent Emelya smiles and agrees. He tells Vasilisa that the princess agreed, but that he must do one more hard task. Vasilisa congratulates him. Meanwhile, the princess makes a plan. She goes to a dark room and calls the evil spirit of her mother by sitting in a strange chair. When the mother's spirit appears, Enfisa says she wants to give Emelya a task he can never finish, so she will be rid of him forever. The spirit smiles and tells her a very hard task. The next day in court, the princess asks, can anyone bring a magic tablecloth that gives food and drink by itself? The king says he has heard this in stories but never seen it. Enfisa says, if Emelya brings that magic tablecloth, I will marry him. So Emelya and Vasilisa search for it. Vasilisa says the tablecloth belongs to two brothers, Seatsar and Afanasi, who moved to the hills many years ago. They were given food without work and became so lazy they hardly move. Emelya and Vasilisa stop at an old couple's house for food. The house is simple, but the couple has true love. Vasilisa smiles and says, true love is like a needle and thread. One is incomplete without the other. They go through green fields and reach the hills where the two fat brothers sit with the magic tablecloth. The cloth brings many tasty dishes, and the brothers eat until full. Emelya watches, and when the brothers grow tired, he asks for the cloth. They get angry and hit him on the head with a coconut, making him unconscious. Vasilisa wakes him and asks the brothers to look at themselves in the water. Seeing their faces, they are shocked to find they have become fat like buffalo because of many years of sitting and eating. Ashamed, the brothers ask how they can change. Vasilisa says they must give up the magic tablecloth. As long as they have it, they will stay lazy and never work. Feeling sorry, the brothers give the cloth and promise to change. Vasilisa takes the tablecloth and leaves with Emelya. Emelya wakes and is happy that he has completed the task. On the way back, he picks flowers for the princess, but Vasilisa says, can't you see Enfisa does not want to marry you? She gives you hard tasks, so you will fail. Emelya, in his simple faith, says, no, she won't do that. If I finish this, everything will be fine. Seeing his goodness, Vasilisa falls in love with him, but she does not tell him. When Emelya arrives at the palace with the magic tablecloth, everyone cheers and the king proudly says Emelya has won the people's hearts. But Anfisa is angry and asks her mother's spirit for more advice. The spirit gives a very bad plan. The next day in court, Anfisa says she will marry Emelya, but first he must go to the dark world and ask her mother's permission there. The king is shocked because people rarely return alive from the dark world. But Emelya, as always, says yes without thinking. Vasilisa warns him that going there is like walking into death, but Emelya smiles and says, "Why fear death when your heart is true?" Before he leaves, he visits his blind father. The father hears his voice and says, "My son, you are alive. I cannot look for you because I cannot see." Emelya becomes emotional, asks forgiveness, and asks his father's blessing before leaving. On the road, Emelya says he wasted 2 wishes, but now for his 3rd wish, he only wants his father to see again. Vasilisa uses her magic, and his father's sight returns. They reach the river, where the journey will begin. Emelya gives Vasilisa the fish scarf back and says his 3 wishes are done. Vasilisa says she cannot leave him alone in danger because they are like needle and thread, incomplete without each other. Emelya does not fully understand, and they set off together. As they move down the river, they see large statues, and Vasilisa says the dark area starts here. They stop and get out into an open area. A guard of this place speaks, and Emelya is frightened, but Vasilisa says the guard is her father. Emelya is surprised. Vasilisa tells her father everything and asks for help. He says the queen's soul was cruel and used power for herself, so she is punished and always hungry. They call the queen's spirit, and it appears in a very scary form. Emelya asks for permission to marry Vasilisa, but the queen refuses. Vasilisa's father says to the queen, "You have suffered hunger for many years. If you give permission to marry, I will give you food." The queen sees the food, cannot stop herself, eats, and then gives her blessing. Back at the palace, people eat, and the queen's spirit appears like smoke on a tray and says she allows the marriage. The king is happy that Emelya did what no normal man could do. Anfisa becomes furious. In the dark world, Vasilisa thanks her father and returns with Emelya. On the way, she smiles and says, "Now you have done the hardest task. You will get your princess, but you will forget me." People who return from here lose all magical memories. Emelya answers from his heart, "Forgetting you is not possible for me, and I will never want to forget you." Back at the palace, Anfisa breaks the strange chair, and her mother's spirit scolds her. The spirit says she had to allow the marriage because Emelya's success came from a magical fish. She reminds Anfisa that magic is a crime punished by death in this kingdom. Anfisa understands what she must do. At dawn, the boat reaches shore, but when Emelya wakes, his memories of Vasilisa and the dark world are gone. He does not recognize her. Vasilisa says she is just a boat helper who helped him across and quietly leaves. Emelya feels something important is missing. He goes to Anfisa and says, "I have done all your tasks, but now maybe I love someone else." Anfisa asks if he did the tasks alone. Emelya says, "No, maybe some magic helped me each time." Hearing this, Anfisa orders the soldiers to catch Emelya. The next day, in front of everyone, his eyes are tied with a cloth, and the court says Emelya used magic to win the princess, so he must die. Emelya is very sad because the one he risked his life for now wants him dead. The king stays silent and cannot stop the order. Just as the soldiers are about to shoot, Vasilisa arrives. She tells Anfisa, "Let him go. I will be your servant for life, and I will give you 3 wishes." She gives her magic scarf to Anfisa. Anfisa's eyes shine, and she forgives Emelya. Now Anfisa becomes more proud and greedy. For her first wish, she uses the magic to win the people and locks up her father, calling herself the new queen. For the second wish, she asks for a marriage request from an English prince. By Vasilisa's magic, English soldiers and the prince arrive to ask for marriage. The messenger who earlier wanted to marry Anfisa says, "You once wanted to marry me." Anfisa says, "Give that poor man a job in the palace. Now I will marry the prince, not the messenger." Meanwhile, Emelya returns to his village. Sitsar and Afanasi are now honest and working again. Emelya's father says, "Last time you came here with Vasilisa," but Emelya remembers nothing. Then Emelya sees a needle and thread in Sitsar's hand. Looking closely, all his memories come back. He immediately sets out to find Vasilisa. His father, Sitsar, and Afanasi take the hot iron stove and join him. They go to the palace and break the gate. Emelya reaches Vasilisa and says, "I was late in understanding your love, but now I have come to take you away." At that moment, Infisa and her soldiers say, Vasilisa will be their servant. Emelya says, "If you do not free her, we will call the people against you." Infisa laughs with pride and says they cannot stop her. Then she asks Vasilisa for the third and final wish. "Make me a magic woman like you." Vasilisa gives the wish, but the magic works strangely, and Infisa turns into a fish and falls into a bucket. Everyone laughs at the princess's foolish action as she shouts to become human again. Vasilisa explains, "The magical fish gives wishes for others, not itself. You wanted power, and greed turned you into a fish." The Fish King appears, sees the fish, thinks it is Vasilisa, and takes the fish away forever. After this, the palace becomes calm and happy again. The king returns to his people, and Emelya kisses Vasilisa. She is very happy because the search for a true partner is over. And with that, the story ends. If you want more amazing tales, like, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next video.